Today, we're doing a deep dive into the story of Caleb Chen. You might know him as the Highest Critic.
Mhm.
Our source material is excerpts from the Highest Critic, Caleb Chen's Cannabis Journey, which comes to us from Nug Notes. So our mission today, it's really to trace the path of this, well, self-taught cannabis critic, someone who built a global resource essentially from scratch. And it shows, how deep dedication and just this intense curiosity can really shake up an industry. We'll follow his story from like the very beginning, learning, even flipping small amounts, all the way to judging the first state-sanctioned cannabis competition. It's quite an arc.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's kick things off there. How did Caleb Chen first get involved? How did he start down this road to becoming the highest critic?
Well, his first direct experience was pretty specific. April 20th, 2010 in Virginia.
Okay, 420, fitting.
Right. And
Yeah.
pretty soon after that, he started, as the source says, flipping small amounts,
Yeah.
basically selling a bit to keep access to what he saw as his medicine.
Mhm.
But the really fascinating part, I think, is how quickly he jumped into self-education. Like, immediately.
Not just using it, but studying it.
Exactly. He wasn't just a user. He turned into this really meticulous researcher almost overnight, spending nights glued to the web, comparing info from places like seedfinder.eu, THC Farmer, IC Mag.
Okay, so the classic forums and databases back then.
Yeah, the OGs. And his whole goal was just to get a handle on cultivar names, the naming conventions, and critically trying to verify lineage claims, which, in that market could be pretty murky.
Right, lots of myths and legends.
Totally. So this deep, almost obsessive early research, that was the bedrock. That's what gave him this unique expertise later on. He could kind of see through the marketing hype early.
That makes sense. So that intense curiosity, that drive to verify things was there from day one. Okay, so he builds up this like deep personal knowledge base. Then comes the big jump. How does he go from VPN marketing to actually launching a cannabis review site? That seems like a huge shift.
It was a massive shift. I mean, he leaves his role, a director role in VPN marketing,
Yeah.
and then he moves into a van.
Into a van, seriously?
Yeah. And launches thehighestcritic.com from the van in 2018.
Wow. Okay, that's commitment.
Right. And that really speaks to the gold and maybe the unique angle of thehighestcritic.com. The site's main purpose, from the get-go, was to document and review cannabis cultivars. But the key was the format.
Okay.
It highlighted reviewers smoking the absolute best stuff they could find. And crucially, it didn't matter if that cannabis was, legal from a dispensary or from the illicit market.
Ah, interesting. So quality focused regardless of source.
Exactly. That impartiality was pretty different at the time.
Moving into a van, that definitely signals conviction, doesn't it? So tell us more about those earlier reviews. What was the THC team looking at?
It absolutely shows conviction. I mean, you don't make that leap lightly. And those early reviews, they were incredibly detailed and kind of ahead of the curve. They were reviewing small batch stuff like Pink Poos Goddess and recapping events like the CA State Fair Cannabis Awards or the East Coast Connoisseur Cup before those things really hit the mainstream radar.
So identifying trends early.
Pretty much. And the posts weren't just, this is good. They were deep dives. They included specifics like, lineage, genetics, the breeder behind it, the terpene profile, or the more precise term, chemovar.
Right, the chemical fingerprint.
Exactly. Plus the grow method, detailed smoke notes. It was this really comprehensive, almost scientific approach right from the start. That's what made them stand out.
That level of detail, yes, especially back then, must have set a completely new bar. Okay, so this grassroots project, fueled by this passion and detail, starts to grow. How does it become this globally recognized platform? And how did Caleb himself, formalize his expertise beyond just running the site?
Well, the growth was fast, really impressive, actually. It just shows there was this huge appetite for reliable, detailed info. By 2021, thehighestcritic.com wasn't just Caleb. It had over 100 contributors.
Wow, 100.
Yeah, spread across the US, UK, EU, even Thailand.
Yeah.
But Caleb stayed on as the lead editor, kind of guiding the ship.
Okay.
And if you look at the bigger picture, Caleb's own journey of getting credentials, it really mirrors how the whole cannabis industry started professionalizing around that time.
Right. Things were starting to get more structured.
Exactly. So he went out and got formal credentials,
Right.
became a certified Ganjier in 2022.
Which is like the sommelier for cannabis, right?
Yeah, that's the comparison people often make, yeah. Focused on quality assessment.
Yeah.
Then he became a Buddhist critic in 2023, and significantly, he graduated from Cal Poly Humboldt in 2024.
So a solid academic underpinning to go with the practical experience. And his academic work wasn't just theoretical. He got that $25,000 Next Gen Fellowship. studying prohibition's impact on breeders, which sounds crucial.
Absolutely. And that ties into his thesis for 2025, Post-Prohibition Changes in Cannabis Genetics.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking into genetic bottlenecking, doing in-depth interviews with breeders,
Yeah.
real primary research.
Mm-hmm.
But his expertise isn't just academic or site-based, it's very hands-on. He's been a judge at major competitions. The Cowboy Cup, Cannafest, East Coast Connoisseur Cup.
So he's evaluating product at the highest level.
Definitely. And maybe the biggest marker of that is being selected for both 2024 and 2025 as a flower judge for the CA State Fair Cannabis Awards.
Ah, the first state-sanctioned competition. That's a big deal.
Huge deal. It's where that meticulous evaluation approach really gets applied in a, very formal, recognized setting.
Yeah, it feels like his work really bridges the gap between the legacy culture and the more formalized industry. So, okay, beyond the credentials, the judging.
Yeah.
What's Caleb Chen's core philosophy, like on cultivation, on quality, and what's he working on right now? What are the current projects?
His philosophy on cultivation is pretty balanced, actually. He supports both sun-grown and indoor light-grown flower. His core belief seems to be that diversity in how things are grown is what drives quality overall.
Interesting. Not just picking one method as best.
Right. He really values unique genetics, understanding the grower's intent, demanding transparency about lineage, and crucially focusing on measurable results. Data over marketing fluff.
Okay.
And what's fascinating, I think, is how that deep practical knowledge feeds his commitment to open knowledge and research. He's not just hoarding information. He's trying to build tools for everyone.
He seems like a real advocate for building that foundational knowledge base for the whole industry. And his current work reflects that, right? Moderator on Reddit Star Trees, that's a massive community.
Huge. Millions of users.
And also being a research associate with Dominic Corva on that state-funded legacy genetics study, doing ethnographic interviews.
Yeah, capturing those histories and experiences from people involved in pod culture, often for the first time in a formal research context.
That's vital work.
It really is. And maybe the key project he's building now is this open source database. The goal is to link certificates of analysis, the COAs, with lineage info and grow style details.
So connecting the lab data with the plant story.
Exactly. Making verifiable data accessible to breeders, researchers, everyone. It's trying to bring real data infrastructure to a field that's often lacked it.
Mm-hmm.
And just to sum up the highestcritic.com now, it's basically this rich, searchable archive. Reviews of cultivars, hash, interviews, cultural event recaps, but the focus remains consistent. Small batch, flower and hash, rare genetics, insights from legacy operators, the folks who were there before legalization, and perspectives from consumers globally.
It really is an incredible journey. Caleb Chen's story is just such a powerful example of how, deep personal interest, that passionate inquiry, when you combine it with serious dedication to documenting things and being transparent, it can turn one person's focus into a vital resource for a whole industry that's changing so fast.
Absolutely. And then maybe a final thought for listeners is to consider that. Consider how that kind of critical thinking, that willingness to meticulously document information, even in fields that are emerging or maybe were traditionally underground, how that can do more than just create resources. It can build a verifiable history, push an entire sector towards professionalization, toward transparency, towards ultimately higher quality and better understanding for everyone involved.